Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Let It Rip. I'm your host, Eldridge Bell, and we got to talk about the Clippers beating the Houston Rockets in the first game of the second round of the NBA playoffs, and how lucky the Clippers were to win that game. Because honestly, it was a turnover machine for both teams. Now, with the Houston Rockets, I give them a pass, somewhat of a pass, because they didn't play in several days. So fair enough, they're going to be rusty. I didn't think they were going to be this rusty, but they were. James Harden, he had, I believe, 6 turnovers, which was his highest for the entire season. The whole team combined had 23 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 23 turnovers. I get that a little high for my taste, for a little high for anybody's taste, to be honest with you. But they hadn't played in several days. But the real issue is the Los Angeles Clippers and how much they miss Chris Paul. I know it's the obvious, but my God, I didn't think they would be this bad in terms of protecting the ball. Jamal Crawford, who he has all the talent in the world, but what stops him from being a legitimate great player in this league is his decision making. If it's from shot selection to when and when not to pass the ball in tight windows. I mean, the man, I just don't know what goes through his head. He could be so much better than what he is, but he's been in the league long enough to where he is the player he's going to be. The team, the Los Angeles Clippers as a team, I believe they had 21 turnovers. Austin Rivers, I mean, not to flame the dude, but he's been playing like he's still a Duke, where he can just get away with certain decision making, certain lack of decision making skills in the NBA Finals. And those, if Chris Paul doesn't come back relatively soon, those Jamal Crawford and Austin Rivers, their decision making right now has been suspect, and they need Chris Paul to come back. Blake Griffin, on the other hand, that man is putting on a show. He put on a show against the San Antonio Spurs, and he's putting on a show at least one game in the second round against the Houston Rockets, where I believe he got a triple-double. Yeah, he did get a triple-double. He got 26 points, 13 assists, and 14 rebounds. And I don't want to glitz over that, because that is extremely impressive for a power forward who doesn't really have a true point guard. And I say a true point guard because I don't think Jamal Crawford is a true point guard. I think he's one of those spark plug players who doesn't really know how to distribute the ball on par with Chris Paul, or on any realm of Chris Paul. So that makes his stat line that more impressive. Kudos to Blake Griffin, because unlike most players who are physically gifted, he's evolved his game over the years. And I'm impressed with him. His passing ability, he's able to bring up the basketball up the court for a guy who's his height is impressive. And obviously the points, which everyone's going to focus on, is impressive as well. So I got to give credit to Blake Griffin, but honestly, the Clippers got lucky for a variety of reasons. The Houston Rockets, as I said earlier, were rusty. But second and most importantly, that the Clippers winning the first game on the road is extremely important for Chris Paul's benefit, because Chris Paul gets either game 2 and game 3 off to rest, because even if Chris Paul had been healthy, you want to split game 1 and 2 on the road. And worst case scenario, the Clippers can split both games in Houston, and when they come back 1-1, which is what you want to do when you don't have home court advantage. So the Clippers winning this game is extremely lucky, because I felt that they should have won this game with all the turnovers they had, but Houston proved to be more rusty than the Clippers, which is to be expected, since the Clippers just got a 7-game dogfight with the San Antonio Spurs, and they played literally the next day, whereas the Houston Rockets had time off. But hopefully Chris Paul can come back in game 3 or game 4. I would expect for him to be close to full strength. I know they said the reports coming for game 2 is that he's 50-50. Me personally, I would play it safe and rest Chris Paul for either game 3 or game 4. But the Clippers, you got away with one. You really got away with one. Because one thing the playoffs tells you, it's game footage. And people study film, because it's not like the regular season where you can just, oh, we got 4 games in one week. No, this is your series. The coaches will have film and they'll break down what you do. And if Chris Paul can't play, they're going to key in on Jamal Crawford's weaknesses, which is his decision making. He has all the skill in the world, but his decision making, it's up here, is what holds him back from being a prominent player in this league. So hopefully, one or two things can happen. Chris Paul can come back, or Jamal Crawford can play smarter, which I don't think the latter is going to be a viable option, considering the fact he's been in the league for more than 5 years. He is a player who's going to be. But so they need Chris Paul to come back. But I'm looking forward to seeing if my assumption that the Houston Rockets will play better and game plan better for the game 2, which is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Tomorrow being Wednesday. So kudos to the Clippers showing some heart, showing some grit, and actually winning a game which I thought they wouldn't win, especially without Chris Paul. But kudos to them showing mental toughness without their heart and soul. The engine of that team, I believe. Great job. Blake Griffin, please keep doing what you're doing. JJ Redick had a good game. He's got to keep doing what he's doing. Jamal Crawford, you got to play smarter. You got to have better decision making and shot selection. You got to do better in those areas if you want to win this game without Chris Paul in game 2. For the Houston Rockets, you just got to cut down on the turnovers. James Harden can't have 6 or 9 turnovers. 9 turnovers. He can't have 9 turnovers. Dwight Howard has to play better. Josh Smith had a couple costly turnovers at the end of the game. As a whole, you just got to clean it up, Houston Rockets. And I feel that you will, because you got one game under your belt in the last couple of days. So that was your game to get the kinks out. Game 2 should be much more competitive, I think, and a lot more crisp on both sides, hopefully. I'm talking to you, Jamal Crawford. But we'll see how the game plays out. Thanks again for watching. I'm your host, Eldridge Bell. And please leave your comments and suggestions for other topics to talk about. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen.